Alright, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be getting ready to start video number 8 in this series, which is going to be where we go through and start tuning our shocks. And we're going to be working on our high-speed shock settings. And this is the one video I have not been looking forward to making because this high-speed shock stuff, I don't really know a lot about it. I kind of got an idea of how it works, but I kind of don't. So basically, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into this setup here, and I'm going to go ahead and just for giggles, I'm going to set all of these shock settings to 1. So for our left front shock, our high-speed compression slope, I'm going to set that to 1. The right front high-speed compression slope, I'm going to set to 1. The left rear compression slope for high speeds, I'm going to set to 1. The right rear high-speed compression slope, I'm going to set to 1. The left front high-speed rebound slope, I'm going to set to 1. The right front high-speed rebound slope, I'm going to set to 1. The left rear high-speed rebound slope, I'm going to set to 1. And the right rear high-speed rebound slope, I'm going to set to 1. Damn it. This is going to be the number of laps we're going to run. Now, normally when I make adjustments, I like to do 20 lap runs after every change, but since this track is so hugic and I don't really understand how these shocks really work yet, I kind of do, but I kind of don't. I'm only going to do my test runs, limit them to about 5 laps. And just so that you can kind of see what's going on with these shocks as I'm making the adjustments and stuff, I'm going to take you guys along with me for that 5-lap run. Just basically, since it's only going to take 5 minutes, so you got 5 minutes of watching me drive around. But hopefully you can see what's going on with the truck through the windshield as we're driving it around and trying these different shock settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first go out and do the first run. I'm going to go through and make the changes here in the garage to the shocks. I'm going to set all of the high-speed stuff to 1. So we're going to go ahead and make this high-speed compression slope down to a 1 on all 4 of the shocks. High-speed compression or high-speed rebound slope, let's set that to 1. The high-speed rebound slope on the left front, set that down to 1. High-speed compression slope on the left rear set to 1. High-speed compression slope set to 1 on the right rear. Now we're not going to change any low-speed stuff. We're going to leave those all set to 5 because I understand how the low-speed stuff works. It's just this high-speed stuff that's got me lost. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure this out with you guys here on the video. And hopefully, if you guys have any idea what's going on with this, and maybe have grasped it a little bit better than I have as we're going through and playing with these damn things, leave comments in the comments below about what you think might be going on with these shocks as we make these adjustments. So I'm just kind of going through here real quick and just checking to make sure that I got all of the high-speed stuff set down to 1. And it looks like I do. Whoops, there's one. The high-speed rebound slope for the right rear, that one's at 5 yet. So let's take him down to 1. And that should get us a start. So high-speed rebound slope on the left rear, set that one to 1 because that one was still at 5. So I think I got everybody. So go ahead and apply that. Click OK. Well, before we do, let's see what iRacing has to say about this high-speed slope compression shit and find out from the horse's mouth itself exactly what's supposed to be going on, if we can make heads or tails of it. Now, what I think might be going on here, on these newer shocks, these shocks actually came out with the next gen car back in 2022. And on that car, they're known as a 6-way adjustable. And then later on, about a year, 6 months or so after they came out on the next gen car, after it was released, these shocks actually migrated over to the next gen, or to the Xfinity car, and over to the truck. On the Xfinity car, they're known as a 5-way adjustable, where on the next gen car they're a 6-way adjustable, and on the truck they're only known as a 4-way adjustable, which means that the next gen car has all of the possible adjustments that you can do to them available on the shock here in the garage to play with. The Xfinity car has a couple of more adjustments that aren't available on the truck, and the truck only basically has just the slopes that are adjustable as far as the high-speed stuff goes, and that's it. Where the Xfinity car, you can adjust the high-speed compression rate as well as the slopes, but you can't adjust the rebound rate for the high-speed on the Xfinity car, just the slope. And on the trucks, the only thing you can adjust is the slopes. There's nothing you can adjust as far as the high-speed compression or the high-speed rebound. Just the slopes are the only things that are adjustable. So let's take a quick gander here at what the slopes do. And what I think they do, I'm going to give you kind of my idea about how they work, and then we'll see what iRacing says. From what I have noticed about the slopes when you're adjusting them, generally the higher the number is on the slope for the compression means that the more the shock moves, or the more you compress the shock, the stiffer it gets up until the point you bottom it out and it hits the limit that it can compress. So the higher the number, the softer that shock is, and the easier it is to move. The lower the number, the harder the shock is to move, the more you compress the shock. So right now, the way I got it set, all of the high-speed compression on all of the shocks is set to be as stiff as possible, is where it's sitting right now. Now for our high-speed rebound, it's going to be the same thing except in the opposite direction. The higher the number, the harder the shock is going to be to extend or pull the shock shaft out of the shock body. The further you pull it out, the harder it's going to get to pull. And it's going to take more force to pull the shock out of the shock shaft out of the shock, the lower that number is. The higher the number, the easier it is going to be to pull out. So we've got everybody set right now to 1, which means that our shocks for the high-speed stuff is set as high as possible, as stiff as possible. And basically, to get an idea what a high-speed movement is, a high-speed movement is anytime you encounter a bump or hit a curb or something like that where the suspension has a rapid rate of movement, where you hit a bump and the wheel hits it and it tries pushing the wheel up, and the suspension follows it and compresses and moves, and the wheel moves up into the fender. When you hit a bump, that's something that happens really quickly, so that would be a high-speed movement, just to give you an idea. So basically, this high-speed stuff is going to mainly control bumps. Now, in testing, when I came out to do all the building of the setup up to this point, we had all the shock settings set to 5, which is kind of the middle of the road setting. And when I was driving the truck around during those, when we were first building the initial part of the setup, the track felt relatively smooth. I didn't really feel any bumps, except for maybe 1 or 2 as we come into turn 1. There's a couple of bumps there. But generally, with everything set to 5, everything felt pretty smooth. So we got everything all for the high-speed stuff now all set to 5. So I'm going to take it out and drive it 5 laps while I record telemetry, so we can get an idea of what as stiff as possible looks like on a shock histogram, which I have no clue how to actually read, to be honest with you. And we'll start lumping it up closer, taking it back up to 5, maybe 1 step at a time. and seeing how that histogram changes as we adjust our shock. Also, we're going to kind of go off field, and I'm going to take you along for the ride so that you guys can see exactly how the truck responds with the shock set of the different settings. So we're going to go ahead and start this thing up, go out. We're going to run a 5-lap run, and just to see how this thing is. Now this is with shocks with all the high-speed stuff set to 1. Just how this thing feels when everything's set to 1, or making the shock high-speed movements as stiff as possible. Now there are a lot of videos on YouTube that explain how these things work, and I have watched most of them that I can find. Buster's Corner has one that they go into real in depth about how these things work. They talk about shock dynos and the way the shock curves and the histogram look, where they talk about the slope, the knee, and all of this kind of stuff that makes absolutely no damn sense to me. Even after watching their video and seeing them explain it on the histogram, what it would look like in that, it really didn't do much for me. Now this track, the first lap we just run here, the track still feels fairly smooth even with everything set as stiff as possible. So that the shocks can't move easily, they can't compress very well, nor can they extend very well. So basically they're kind of locked rigid. And my lap time there was about where it's been showing up most of the time in testing, even with everything set to 5. So we don't really see a big difference in our lap time, other than we're maybe about a half a second slower. There we came through some bumps, and we got to learn to stay off of that part of the track during the race. But that might be a good place to see exactly what these things feel like as we're driving around the track and making their adjustments. But I know the truck doesn't really like it down there very well. And you can hear the splitter and everything bottoming out as it comes over top. So here's our second lap. 56.114. So basically these high-speed shock settings I'm going to adjust the same way that I've done. There we have a few little bumps as we were coming there on the middle of turn 1. And I know there's a couple of bumps there because I felt them in other cars before, like the Xfinity car. They're really noticeable in the Xfinity car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my 5 laps, record my fastest lap and my final lap of the run. Make our adjustments, make our changes, and see how the adjustments affect our lap times. I don't know if these high-speed settings are going to affect lap time or handling as much as the low-speed stuff does. I know the low-speed stuff does affect handling more. The high-speed stuff can to a point, but for the most part, the low-speed stuff is where really all your handling stuff is going to come from. Other than the fact that the truck is going to handle bumps better and the tires not going to bounce and leave the surface of the racetrack as easily when you get the high-speed stuff adjusted properly. That's all I really know about it. So we're coming up to finish the last of the first 5-lap run. where we did everything with the high-speed stuff set to 1, which should be the stiffest.
56.727.
Turn off our telemetry, and we're going to stop. We're going to go ahead and record our lap times. Shut the truck off. So run number 1, this is with everything set to 1. Our fastest lap was a 56.027. And our final lap was a 56.727. So over the course of the run with it set to 1, we had about a 7/10 of a second loss over 5 laps in lap time. That's what our fall off is. Which really don't mean a hell of a lot. So let's go ahead and pull up Motec and take a look at the shock data from that run and see what we can see. And unfortunately, I don't have any shock data. What the hell's going on? Is Moo running? Yeah, Moo's already running and it's not giving me any shock data. What's going on here? Yep, telemetry. I didn't turn telemetry off, so they didn't export the shock file. So let's see if we got something now. Okay, what are you bitching about? Okay, there we go. Now we got some shock data, I think. Oh, we didn't get very good. We didn't record enough data. We ran 5 laps, but I didn't have the telemetry running the whole time. I only ran it right there at the end. So we got to throw that one out because it didn't work. So we're going to go in here and make sure our telemetry is empty. And I'm going to put you on a brief pause. I'm going to go out and run 5 more laps. So you've already seen the first setting during that first 5 lap run. No sense to you have you watch it again. So I'll be back in 5 laps. Alright, one thing that I didn't notice before when we were doing the first lap together, when we were coming through the tunnel turn on the second attempt where I was trying to actually get some data to look at, since we made this adjustment and set these all down to 1, I noticed more tire squeal through the tunnel turn than what we had been having when we were building the rest of the setup once we had our cross weight and our springs and everything set properly. So by stiffening up these shocks, it has made the tires squeal a little bit more through the corners. So let's take a look at our data here and see exactly what our shocks look like. And I did feel a lot more solid bumps in the corner, particularly turn 1. I did have one area where I hit the bumps and they did throw me into the wall. So there's that. So that's kind of what we got for the first run. So I'm going to go out. We're going to set these up to a 2 now. Then go back out and see it. And I did note on my sheet here that with this setting I had more tire squeal through the tunnel turn, just so that it was a change that I noticed, and I want to document that so that as I work with this I could try to see if I could figure out what the hell's going on with these damn shocks. So we're going to go back to the garage. We're going to go to our high-speed stuff. We're going to do our high-speed slope first. We're going to take the right front or left front up to a 2. Our right front up to a 2. Our right rear up to a 2. And our left rear up to a 2. So we've got all of that stuff now set to 2s. So let's go through and mark this on our sheet. So our high-speed compression slope for the left front is now at a 2. Right front high-speed compression slope is now at a 2. The left rear compression slope is at a 2. Right rear compression slope high speed is at a 2. left front high speed rebound slope, everything, that's all still set at 1. We haven't changed that yet, so let's go ahead and take this thing out. I'll take you along for the ride on this particular part, and we're going to sit there and see high speed rebound slope for the right rear. Okay, that's rebound slope. We don't want to change that. Compression slope we've already got set to 2, so make sure everybody's applied. We're going to go ahead and go out and we're going to run. Hopefully this time my telemetry data records. And I'm going to take along and we're going to see if we can see just how this thing reacts to a slightly softer shock now. So we're going to go out and do our 5-lap run. And see if we still hear a lot of squealing through the tunnel turn. Still feels a little bouncy through that section of turn 1 there, when we're right up kind of by the wall. Now on that lap, I really didn't hear a lot of tire squeal through the tunnel turn like I did just a few seconds ago when I did the first run. But it does feel a little tighter coming through turn 1 than it did with everything set to 5s. But that could just be me though. Still didn't really hear any tire squeal that I could really hear.
.545. Hey baby, I need a couple more laps like that last one.
Well, going up to a 2 did make our lap time go down a little bit for our fastest lap, so that was something interesting. Because before we were running like 56 second lap when they were on 1s. Still don't really hear any tire squeal through that tunnel turn. Nor do I hear it through turn 3.
Yeah. 55.877.
I guess it wasn't as tight through there as I thought. It felt a little better that time. Alright, we're getting ready to come up on the 5th lap of this run. Might have been a little bit of squeal there if we coming off the 3, but
55.83.
We'll pull up our telemetry data, and first of all we're going to record our lap times. Lap run 2. Fastest lap was a 55.545. And the last lap of the run was a 55.830. Laps. Oh. SQU. God damn caps lock key. This keyboard's battery went dead earlier when I was trying to record this video, and I had to abandon the original video, and now things aren't working quite as well. I don't know if it screwed something up in the keyboard when it went dead, but okay, now it seems to be working. Internal turn. All right, so we'll note that. Come back to our Motec. That was our first run. Let's go ahead and open up our second run. That guy right there, open him. And let's see what we can see here. Well, I want to look at my average on the right front. So the average bump is 7.76%. Average rebound is 0.54%. So just for giggles, I'm going to look at that, and then I'm going to go back to our first run and see what that looked like, which has been this lap. So our average 0.76 and our average was a 0.76 and average of 0.54. Let's see what those were on the first rod that we did, which is this one. There's 0.77 and then a 0.55. So it did move a little bit. What did the left front do? 0.46 and 0.36, 0.47 and 0.37. All right, what's the left rear look like on the second run? 1.01, 1.01 and 1.07 versus a 1.05 and a 1.14. And then on the right rear it was 0.98 versus 0.104. And then the second run was a 0.93 versus a 1.0. So I don't know if it got better or not. I do see some change, but, and then my histogram here doesn't have that characteristic on the left front. It does a little bit, but not on any of the others. So let's go ahead and go back to our garage. This time we're going to take the high-speed compression on the left front. We're going to take that to a 3. Right front high-speed compression to a 3. Right rear, left rear to a 3. Right rear to a 3. Left front rebound, we're going to leave that as a 1. Leave all the rebound stuff as 1s. Okay, we'll go make the changes in the setup. So we'll do this real quick here. Shut the truck off. Don't need it sitting here idling. Oh, we're actually in the replay right now, so that's why I hear it idling. So we're going to go to the high-speed compression slope on the left front, take that to a 3. High-speed compression slope on the right front to a 3. High-speed compression slope on the right rear to a 3. And to the left rear, a 3. We'll apply that. Go out, we'll reset everything here just to make sure that our lap times and lap counter is reset. Put you on our pause, wait for that to load up, and then we'll be right back and we'll go out and do another 5 laps. Unpause you so you guys can come with me, and I'm going to turn on my telemetry. And let's take this thing out for 5 laps and see what kind of difference we get now that we've gone from 1 to 2 and then now to 3 on our high-speed compressions. So the high-speed compression stuff should now be a little bit softer and faster than they were. When we first started, everything was all as stiff as we could have it, which makes the shock as slow as possible. So we'll see how dropping the softness of the high speed on the shock so far affects everything. First lap at 5. No noticeable tire squeal through 1. Nothing really noticeable through 2. Through the tunnel turn. Nothing really noticeable through 3. So that was the first lap.
55.633.
And our lap time stayed about the same. Either that or I didn't give it enough trail brake coming into the corner and didn't get it rotating. That might have been me. That might have been my driving there instead of just the setup. Let's see how it feels this next lap.
.94.
Trail brake just a little bit longer to get the rotation going. Yeah, I think that's one thing. Was that last run? That last time through there is that I didn't trail brake it long enough and give enough rotation into it to get through the corner without smacking the wall. So that was my bad, not the truck's bad. Now I'm still using the same brake bias I've been using as we built the whole setup up to this point. That I have not changed that yet.
56.112.
Alright, got a good rotation through there. Gonna come off the corner nice and clean, which is what I want to see. I like to see anyway. Now when we come back to do the, in the next video, when we come back to do the low speed stuff, I'll probably do the same thing with you guys, take you out as we do the laps, as we make the adjustments to low speed stuff so you can see how it affects the truck. Because the low speed stuff is going to make a big difference in the way the truck handles, more than the high speed stuff does. But I do know that we got to get our high speed stuff set first, because the high-speed stuff will affect the low-speed stuff if it ain't set first. So if we go through and set our low-speed stuff, get that all good, and come back and try setting our high-speed stuff, it'll affect our low-speed settings and mess everything up for us. To rotate a little bit more, coming around the corner there, and finish up this lap.
56.005.
Telemetry, and we'll stop, record our data, and go back in and look at our telemetry and see what we got. Bring you guys over here. So that was run number 3. The fastest lap was a 55.633. The last lap was a 56.05. Now, I really can't look at that histogram right yet because I don't know enough about it to know if that's a good histogram or if everything's looking good, but all I can do is right now is just basically go off the lap times of what the thing's feeling like. And this track is so damn smooth, it's not as bumpy as I thought it was. So it's hard to really feel much of a difference other than the fact that it feels smooth through there. So let's go up here and take a look at our stuff. So we're going to open up our next file, which as we do so, we're going to look at the right front averages, which are 76.54. Open up the next one, 76.54. We went 76.56. And then we'll go back and compare the first run. 76.56 to 77.55, 76.54, 76.56. That was our last run we just did. I don't know what the hell that is. That's an in lap. So let's see what happens if we try to compare multiple laps here. It doesn't show me the percentages, it just shows me the graphs. So interesting on that. Turn that one on. Turn that one on. Alrighty, so we'll turn those overlays off. And then we'll see what our first lap was versus on the right front. It's 47.37, 46.36, 47.39, 95.104, 93.1, 95.104. Now, from what I understand, we want to get these averages as close together as possible so that that average and that average are the same number. That's what we're aiming for. From what little bit I have read about and heard about on these shock histograms, that's what we're after. So now we got that information down. We'll go ahead and minimize Motac here for the moment. We're going to go ahead and come over here to our slopes for our high-speed compression. We're going to move these up to a 4. So left front's now going to be at a 4. Right front going to be at a 4. Left rear is going to be up to a 4. Right rear is going to be up to a 4. And these are all slopes, so we'll leave those as they are. And I'll pull this guy out of the way for now, and we'll go back out and do another run. So let's reset. Put you on a brief pause while this loads up, and then we'll go out for another 5 laps. All right, let's go out and see what 4 does on the high-speed shock settings for the compression. Let's see what kind of difference we see now. I mean, this is all about what building a setup is all about. Especially when it's not part of the setup building process that you don't really fully understand. Go out and make a change, record the data, make another change on the exact same thing. In our case, going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, with a run in between each change, and see what kind of difference we get between runs, and see how the change affects everything. That's how you build a setup. And at the same time, that's how you learn about what the different settings and adjustments do if you don't really fully understand what they do. Like me with these shocks, I have no freaking clue really how they work, to be honest. And that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm trying to learn how the damn things work right along with you guys. So we're both kind of learning them together at the same time, which is cool. I like learning stuff with my audience at the same time. And any of you guys that have any idea what might be happening here with these shocks as we're making these changes, feel free to leave it in the comments and let me know, and help if anybody does know what's going on. Be sure to educate me that way, because that's how we grow and that's how we learn.
.183.
Well, that time they're still about the same. Enough rotation in the corner not to smack the ball and exit. Like I said in earlier videos, as we were going through building this setup, the way this thing is coming together, this setup, I think, is going to be bad fast. And I think I can't wait to race this thing once I get everything all done and everything all figured out and set the way it needs to be set. I think that's going to be a fun truck to drive in the race. Assuming we don't get caught up in somebody else's screw up and get wrecked out of it. I think this is going to be a really fast truck in the race.
55.834.
Because all the testing I've done so far on everything, this thing is fast and it stays fast. And the tire wear is negligible over half of race length. And that there just surprised. That was probably the biggest surprise I've seen so far with this setup, is just how well the tires hold up on it. Because everything I've done so far up to this point, as far as building setups for this thing, the tire wear has just been horrible on every setup I've built, with the exception of maybe Nashville. That was the first setup I really started to build using this method, but I didn't completely build the whole setup using this method. But that's where I first started to put this into play. And then when I built my Chicagoland using this setup method, other than getting wrecked out of the damn thing, that truck was really fast and really good too. We just couldn't get a clean race because it kept getting wrecked by other idiots that can't drive. So if we can get into a good lobby with some good drivers that know what the hell they're doing and not be a rolling damn demo derby, I'm thinking that we could probably have us a pretty good race with this setup. And the fact that we're building the setup the way we are using this method, we're going through and finding the optimal setting for each adjustment based on lap time and tire wear, and getting this thing to where it works the best with our individual driving styles.
56.443.
And that's one of the reasons why I told you guys in this video throughout several times, don't copy my numbers that I'm coming up with, because they work great for me, but they may not necessarily work good for you because of differences in our driving styles and what we feel comfortable with. Alright, so we got that done. We're going to shut the truck off. Record our numbers. That was run number 4, fastest lap, 55.183. Last lap was a 56.443. And from what I can see, just for the little bit we've looked at it so far, the adjustments that we've made, it looks as if we've softened the thing up. The lap times have gotten a little bit better each time as we've gotten softer with the high-speed settings, high-speed compression settings anyway. This is progressively getting better as we go softer. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come up here to get our next setups ready to go. Let's go look at our telemetry data here real quick. Did I remember to shut off the telemetry? It looks like I did, so let's load it up and see what we got here. See what's different. 77 and 58. .77. That's an in lap. That's a run lap. 70. Yeah, so what we'll do here basically is kind of go through all of these different runs that we're doing here. I'll just keep on adjusting on these high-speed adjustments through the compression until I get through them all, get everything set, and see which option gives us the fastest laps. And then we'll leave the setting at whatever is the best lap time. And we'll probably call that will be the optimal setting for that adjustment. So what I'm going to do is go through and reset this. We're going to come up here to the next setting. We're going to go up to a 5. And then a 5. 5. 5. Now we're back on our slopes again, or on our rebound side. So let's go ahead and make the change in the garage. Pull that out of the way. Our garage chassis. High-speed compression slope. It's going from a 3 now to a 4. This one's going from a 3 to a 4. Down here we're going to go to a, that's a low speed rebound, we don't want to change that one. High speed compression rebound up to a 4. This one up to a 4. Make sure we got everybody. Make sure we didn't mess up any of our low speed settings. Those are all still 5s and should be. Alright, I'm going to go out by myself this time. I'm not going to take you guys along because we're not really seeing much difference other than lap time changes, but I'm not seeing any difference in the way the truck is driving or handling bumps. That is particularly visible, so I'll just go put you guys on a brief pause. I'll come back after 5 laps. We'll record our data and go from there. Oh, looky what I got here. Easy anti-cheat strikes again. Welcome to my life. Let's try to launch this again and see if we can get it to go, because this happened to Emily during one of her streams earlier this week or last week or whenever it was. She ran into the same damn problem and couldn't get it to load back up right away. So let's see. Oh, you piece of crap. Yep, we're having problems. iRacing trouble strike again. Alright, looks like it's going to start this time for us, so we'll let it load up. I'll go out and run my 5 laps and we'll be back. Okay, that's interesting. It didn't save my setup changes when iRacing crashed. So I don't think it did anyway. Did we go to? Yeah, everything should be 5s now. So we'll set this one to 5. This one to 5. This one to 5. This one to 5. Yep, so mental note, if iRacing gives you the easy anti-cheat error and crashes and refuses to start up, double check your setups, especially if you're in the middle of building a setup when it happens, to make sure that all your setup adjustments that you made actually took. Because in my case, it looks like they didn't. So let's go ahead and click that, go out and we'll run. Put you on a brief pause, we'll be back at 5 laps. Alright, we're back. Let's go ahead and record our numbers here. And I did notice it looks like we slowed down a little bit by going back up to a 5. So, run number 5. We were at a 55.183 and now our best lap was a 56.025. So it slowed down just a tickle. And our long-term lap time 56.664. Alright, let's continue going on with the rest of our train here. We're going to continue bumping these up and see if we start noticing any trend by these going up higher. So let's take these up to a 6, a 6, 6, and a 6. And we'll keep doing this till we get it all the way up to 9. And then we'll start going, and we'll take whatever is the best one, keep it, and then we'll start doing the same thing with our rebounds. So I'll move this out of the way, go back to our garage. Our chassis, our high-speed rebound, or high-speed compression, take that up to a 6. This high-speed compression to a 6. High-speed compression slope to a 6. High-speed compression slope to a 6. I think that's everybody. We'll apply that. Call done. Reset. Go out for another 10 laps. Okay, let's see if iRacing gives us the finger and falls on its face again. Well, it looks like it's going to work this time. How about that shit? iRacing really needs to get their shit together to that easy anti-cheat bullshit and get that thing fixed before they piss too many people off, including me. I know it gave Emily fits during her stream. She actually lost or missed a race and lost a shit ton of iRating because of that fucking easy anti-cheat crash. She was pissed. I can't blame her, because she's worked so hard to get her iRating up to where it is, just to have iRacing fucking up and screw up on her and crash and cost her a bunch of iRating that she worked so hard to get. Now, if she's a good driver, she'll be able to get it back, and I have no doubt about that. But the fact that she fought so hard to get it in iRacing screw up cost her all that iRating, that was something beyond her control. That's just disheartening when that shit happens to you. But at any rate, I'm going to go out and do another 5 laps with these new settings and see what we got to get out of them. See you in about 5 laps. Alright, another 5 more test laps in the book, so let's go ahead and log our data. Lap test number 6. Alright, what the hell did I do here? Did I goof somewhere in my record keeping? Yep, I sure as fuck did, didn't I? Oops. So these should have been 5s. Changed the wrong one. So these are with 6 now. 6, 6, 6. So get our lap times. Click done, test. $55. 435. 56,719. All right, next run's going to be run 7. I'm going to take these guys all up to 7s. 7, 7, 7, 7. Go make the change in the garage. Pull that guy out of the way. So high-speed compression is going to go up to a 7 from a 6. And this goes from a 7 from a 6. We're not doing the slopes yet. A 7 to a 6 to a 7. Yep, everything should be going to 7s now. So high-speed compression slope should go to a 7. Think we got everybody. Let's go out, reset, and try another 5 laps. And while I'm waiting for that to load up here, I'm going to kind of do a quick gander over these lap times with the different settings we've tried on the high-speed compression and see who seems to be the best of the bunch so far. And right now it looks like 6 is the winner with a 55.435. But for the long run one, it looks like 5 might be the winner there with a 56.664. Or a 5 here with a 56.443. This one here with a 56.005 at 4. So it's going to be a toss-up on that one. So let's go out and run these for 5 laps. I'll put you on a brief pause and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back after that run, so let's go ahead and record our data here and see what kind of interesting things we can see. So we got a best best lap that run was a 55.801. Last lap was a 56.270. Those need to be 2, don't they? Actually 3. Alright, so we got that part, we got up through 7, so the highest we can go on these is 10, I believe. I'm not going to go all the way to 10, I'm going to go up to like 9 as we're doing this. But from what I'm seeing here, it looks like so far maybe 5 or 6 are going to be probably the best setting. Now we'll go through and do it. Get ready for run number 8. Set these guys all to 8. Then we'll go in and do the same thing in the garage. So we'll pull these guys aside. So left front's at an 8, right front's at an 8. Right rear is going to an 8. Left rear is going to an 8. Go ahead and apply that. Go done with it. Reset everything. It's already 4:30 in the morning. Holy shit, where'd the night go? And I think I'm going to need to take a break before I get back and start running because I just ran out of smoky treats, so I got to run to the store here and get a pack real quick. So I shall return here in just a minute. As soon as I find my feet. And I better put a pause on this while I'm gone. I don't want you guys just to be sitting here being recording with dead air, so I'll be right back. Alright, so I finally got the 5 laps run that we were going to run before I'd run to the store to get some more smokes. Got back doing that. It was raining a little bit earlier, and when I went out to go get smokes, I see it had stopped. And it's now just starting to, the sun's just starting to come up, and it's still cloudy, so have to wait and see what happens with that. But anyway, back to where we were at. During this run, we ended up with a 55.829. 55.412 was our best lap for this run. 55.412. Our last lap was a 55.829. Okay, so we've run 8 runs, progressively increasing the high-speed rebound by 1 click each run. And by looking at the lap times and stuff like that, I am not seeing a significant amount of difference between the differences in making the shocks softer as we go. It does have a slight effect on handling, as I found out in the first run when we had the shocks really stiff with all ones, and we were getting the tire squeal through the tunnel turn. And it was making the tires probably slide a little bit more than we would have liked, but we really haven't noticed much of a difference as far as handling otherwise once we started softening everything up and the tire squeal went away. And as far as lap times go, it looks like our fastest lap, we start off with a 56.0, then a 56.5, 55.6, no, 56.0, 55.5, 55.6, 55.1, 55 or 56.0, 55.4, and then a 55.8, and then the final run was a 55.412. And over the long run, so right now we're looking like maybe run number 8 is the fastest lap time, and overall, and for the long-term lap times, it's going to be a 56.7, 55.7, 55.8, 56.0, 56.4, 56.6, 56.7, 56.2, and a 55.8. So from a lap time standpoint, I'm going to say that probably going with 8 on our high-speed compression is going to be our best bet. So I think we're going to go ahead and leave those there, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our high-speed rebound, which currently are at 1 right now. So we're going to drop those down to a 2. So left front, drop that down to a 2, then a 2, then a 2. Actually, we got to leave these all at once because these are all 1s. So we'll go down to run 9, which is where we'll start working with our high-speed rebound. Leave these all at 8. It looks like 8's probably our best bet, although the difference between 8 and a 7 is relatively negligible. But we're going to go off the best setting, so we're going to start off with going to 2s on our high-speed rebound slope. And we're going to do these all across the board. So all the rebound, high-speed rebound stuff is going to be set to 2 for this run. We'll go ahead and minimize that, get it out of the way, and then go and make our changes in the garage. So our high-speed rebound slope is going to go up to a 2. High-speed rebound slope is to a 2. High-speed rebound slope here is going to go to a 2. Whoop, that's low speed. I need to put that back where it was. High-speed rebound, where the hell is it? There it is. Take that to a 2, and that on this one to a 2. Now, when you're adjusting these slopes for the high-speed rebound and compression, be real careful. It's easy to get onto the low speed and not realize that you're on it until you already changed it and realized, oh shit. So basically, that's where we're at now. We got all of them set to 2s. Go and apply that. Go back out and do a reset everything and start over. and see where everything is at. And I'll come back once we get done and show you the numbers. Alright, we're back after the last run. I actually screwed up and went a couple laps further than 5. So that's fine. So that was run number 10. Fastest lap was a 55.537. And the last lap of the run was a 55.795. And that was with a... Actually, we got that in the wrong place. That should be up one. 55.795. And then a 55.537. Get rid of that, get rid of that. That was run number 9. So let's go ahead and get ready for run number 10. So we're going to bump this up to a 3, 3, 3, and 3 here. Go in the garage and make our adjustments. Oh. Go to the garage. So our high-speed compression or high-speed rebound goes to a 3. This one goes to a 3. High-speed compression and high-speed rebound goes to a 3. High-speed rebound to a 3. And that looks like we got everybody there, so let's click apply. Done. Reset, we'll go out for 5 more laps. Get this ready to go. I'll put you on brief pause and I'll see you in 5 laps. Now what? Alright, we just went out and ran that next 5 laps. Which gave us a fastest lap time of 55.712. And our last lap was a 56.936. These are all set at 8s. So what we're going to do now is for run number 11. Leave all these guys here at 8 for the compression stuff. And we'll do the rebound stuff at 4. 4. 4. 4. We'll go ahead and set that all in the garage. So our rebound, high-speed rebound slope, 4, 4, 4, and 4. Apply that, click done, reset. And we'll go out and run another 5 more laps, and then we'll actually go over the numbers and see if we can start to see a trend forming with these going up higher on the compression and on the rebound slopes like we did the compression stuff, and see exactly what kind of decision we need to make on how to handle the high-speed compression and the high-speed compression slopes, rebound slopes, as we go through the setup. Alright, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're through that 5 lap segment, so Let's note our results and see what we can notice with the deal here. So best lap was a 55.329. Last lap of the run was a 55.889. And what did we learn here? And from what I'm basically seeing here, as far as everything goes, on smooth tracks like Pocono here happens to be, you can actually go stiffer on a real smooth track that doesn't have hardly any bumps or no bumps on it, but you don't want to go fully all the way down to the stiffest it can go, because as we were noticing when I did it with the shock set as stiff as it could be, we were getting some tire squeal through the tunnel turn, which means it was wearing the tires a little bit more than it probably should have been. And unfortunately, I didn't think to check tire or to monitor the tire wear as we were adjusting the slopes on the shocks, which is something I might do on the next time I build a setup, is just monitor that and see how that actually affects tire wear over the long run. But what I'm noticing is if you got any slight bumps on the track, the bumpier the track, the softer you want to go with your slopes for both compression and rebound, just so that it has a chance to absorb the bumps. But otherwise, I didn't really notice any major differences in handling from one end of it to the other, going from soft to stiff. It seemed to handle about the same regardless, other than the fact that when we were on the stiffer side of the deal, it seemed a little tight at times, but that may have been more due to my driving and the way I was using the brakes than anything else. So at this point, I'm going to basically lean toward leaving the high-speed rebounds where they are the rest of the way across. Just leave them at 5s for the remainder of the adjustments, because 4 seems to work pretty good, 3 seem to work pretty good too. So it doesn't really make much of an improvement by softening them down, other than it complied with the bumps better. And this track is not really all that bumpy, so it's not that big of a deal. And with that being said, that's going to pretty much wrap up the high-speed shock settings video here for video number 8. When we come back in the next video, we're going to go to our low-speed shock settings, and these will make a significant impact on handling. And I've got a little guide over here that kind of shows you how these all work, and we'll go over that in more detail when we get to our video number 9, which will be our low-speed shock settings, and that will be next. And that'll about wrap it up for this particular lesson. So remember, if you like the video, click like and subscribe, and stay tuned and keep an eye open for video number 9, which will be coming out here probably in the next day or so that we can get the low speed shock settings done, and then go through, and then after that we'll move on to our track bar and truck arm settings, get that all taken care of, and then I'll show you how to start going through and verifying your setup, make sure everything is good, and then we'll go from there. But before I do that, I didn't even think to record telemetry that last run, so actually what I'll do is I'll put it on a brief pause, I'll go out, take a couple laps, and because I do have telemetry data still open from the first run we made. So what I'll do is I'll take a lap or two with these shocks at the settings that they are now, and then log the telemetry for that, and then we'll pull it up and compare them and see what we got for the telemetry now with the new settings that we have. So give me a moment and I'll take care of that real quick. Alright, I've gone out and run a couple laps with telemetry on, so I get some fresh telemetry readings. No, I don't want to close them, I want to open a new one. And what I want to do here is basically compare our telemetry, or our shock histograms from the first run to the last run here. So let's go to our data so we can select our laps. So this will be the first lap we ran. This will be the second lap we ran. third lap we ran. And what I'm looking at is these averages and just seeing how close they are to each other as we go. And we'll go through the next lap we ran, next lap we ran, next run. This one, this was the next after we made some changes, and you can see over here what we have for our actual slope settings and rebound settings. Hold that over just a little bit so we can actually see everything here. We'll come down to our data, we'll go to the next one, which would be, that's an in-lap. So that's kind of an example of what that would be our first run of the deal versus our last run of the deal, which would be right here. As we made the changes to our shocks. Just kind of get some idea here of what we're dealing with. So hopefully that might shine a little bit more light on what the histograms look like. Now, of course, we still got to do our low speed stuff yet, and that'll be a completely different ball game when we start bringing that into the equation. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and close this video out before we get ready to start building doing our low speed video for the low speed shocks. So I'm going to close out Motec. For now, I'm going to go ahead and come up here to the garage and I'm going to save this. We were on tab number 9, which is low speed shock setting, or 8 rather, high speed shock settings. So we'll go ahead and save our deal here. So we'll save that, close that out because we're done with that. And we'll save our setup as number 9, which is going to be high speed shock. Save that, get that out of the way, click done. We'll close out of iRacing and call it done for now. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next video, which should be video number, oh hell, I can't remember now. We'll go look real quick here. Desktop, setups, truck, Pocono. We'll open this back up, take a look real quick. Yeah, video number 9, which will be our low speed shock setting video, where I'll show you how to set your low speed shocks and get your handling dialed in with those. So we'll see you all in the next one. In the meantime, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.